Hello everyone, welcome to F1 2016. So it's finally here then, it's release day for F1 2016, the game that I've actually been playing on and off ever since March when I got invited to test at Cody's HQ. And I've played a couple of preview builds at home since, so I've probably had about 4 or 5 different builds of this game, but it's finally good to be on release day and have the finished release build of the game. So I thought I'd jump on there and give you a few first impressions, which is going to be easier said than done since, like I say, I have been playing it for the last 5 months on and off. And I won't be able to talk about any differences in the game or anything like that. So trying to reset into a first impressions, easier said than done, but I'll give it my best go anyway. So interestingly enough, I literally just watched my F1 2015 first impressions video, and it seems like they almost watched that video and filled in all the gaps that I mentioned in that game and in their video rather. To sum up that video, I basically said that the core, the base of the game was very good. But that it was missing a lot, too many bugs, and just way too basic all round, basically. Well, this game is very, very different to that. They've certainly packed a lot of features in, which is great to see. And I think they've taken a completely different direction to what they did with F1 2010 to 2014. This, of course, as last year's was a completely new engine, completely new base of the game. And it feels like they've changed direction. I mean, of course, just getting some people, external people in to test the game as early as 5 months before release, and then they invited 300 beta testers to test at home. I mean, that's something that would just never have happened before. So I feel like there's a bit of a change in direction for Cody's, which is great to see. And just listen to the community more, as they did with Dirt Rally and Grid. So that's really great to see. So it does feel like a new direction for Cody's, and certainly it feels like they're going in the right direction now. I mean, one big thing for me with the F1 games is I always want it to be as realistic as possible. Now I don't mean that by I want it to be a sim, like a racing sim, because you've got games like iRacing, R-Factor for that. I wanted it to be, it's the official F1 game, it's the official F1 franchise. I wanted it to be as close to what you see on TV as possible. That includes obvious things like safety car, virtual safety car. Both of those are in the game this year. They weren't in there last year. You've also got the Delta on the top right there. That's a little thing they've included, which of course real F1 drivers have got. There's just so much in the game that actually you do see on TV, which is exactly what I wanted. You get a little, see on the right hand side there, it sort of counts you down almost to the DRS zone. Little things like that. There's I mean, I simply can't list all the little things they've improved in this game. There's just so much. They've added so much in, and it's just all round much more polished than the last game was. The last game was essentially just rushed out in a basic form, whereas this game, they've not had to do too much with the handling. There's a few tweaks here and there. The obvious one being the pro surfaces, so the curbs in particular now are much more realistic. So you really do have to be very careful when you're riding them. And also the off track's a little bit less grip, although probably a bit too much grip if I'm honest. The grass particularly has got a bit too much grip because it's only the tyres for long enough. Yeah, I mean overall, the handling as well. So the braking is much improved, which is something I mentioned back in March. It feels more like 2013 now, which is great to see. The low speed grip, it doesn't feel so floaty as it used to. The high speed grip, it's not as understeer as it used to be. So there's just so many improvements. So yeah, overall I'd say the handling is I don't want to say perfect, because I would say handling can never be perfect. But it's very good now. I actually can't really even think of any way they could improve the handling model, to be honest with you. It's that good. They really have nailed it this game, which of course is the very core of a game. Yeah, I mean, like I said, perhaps grass could have a little bit less grip, and I think the curbs are perhaps sometimes even a bit too aggressive, but it's a bit nitpicking. It's probably something they'll improve for next year's game and just kind of improve as the series goes on, but the handling is very good now. And yeah, like I said, I mean, I'll list off a few things that I've got written in front of me here that they've added to the game. So I've mentioned the Delta at the top right there. Career mode, which I'm sure you'll have heard about. I've mentioned it before as well. They've added career mode, and you can also now you can upgrade your team, so you can do certain research and developments sort of tests to get more points to upgrade your car. So you can make a manor actually be a championship winning team now, which is great to see. You can also now change your camera settings, so you can sort of push it forwards and backwards, up and down the angle. There's loads of options, which is great to see. That's been a big complaint of people in the past. They've added an ultimate AI difficulty, so the ultimate AI are actually really fast. And in fact, in qualifying, you really need to nail a lap to beat your teammate, which is great to see. My next video will be an AI video, so you'll have a chance to see the ultimate AI there. there's just more technical data. So you just get they got an MFD, they call it, which is a multifunctional display. So you get, you know, tire temperatures, brake temperatures. There's lots of strategy stuff in there. There's just so much more data. It gets a bit geeky, which is great to see. Which again is what F1 is. That's what you get. That's what, you know, the teams and the drivers have. The strategies I mentioned are much more in depth, and you can really tweak them, and you can see when your tyres go off, see what your lap times are predicted to do, see where the crossover points are, and also it'll tell you during the race that you can. It's got a strategy change. So, for example, if you damage the front wing, it will say, "Do you want to come in now, or do you want to stick to your original pit strategy?" If you're wearing your tyres a bit more than thought, it will say, "Do you want to come in a lap earlier or whatever?" So you know that's good. The lighting as well is massively improved. You can't sit too much in this. Oh, I haven't mentioned, by the way, I'm on PC. I've got medium settings because the high settings, this seems to be quite CPU intensive in this game, much more so than last year. My CPU is a couple of years old now, so I've got medium settings to get some nice stable FPS. It's about 50 or so I'm getting, and yeah, if I carry on doing YouTube much more, then I might upgrade my CPU as well. But yeah, I mean, it looks fantastic even at medium. So ultra high, I mean, particularly, like I say, particularly the lighting, they've made massive improvements with the lighting. You can even edit the time of day as well, which time you start the session. So you can do a night race in the day. You can't do a day race in the night for obvious lighting reasons. But yeah, that's a massive improvement as well. I mean, I've got so much this here. They got a sim damage setting, so you can damage the car much easier, which is really good. Again, you'll see that in my next video. There's manual pit entry now, so you actually have to slow down for the pit line. You've got your fuel and tyres really managing in this game, so you know you can genuinely run out of fuel and run out of tyres, you know, reasonably easily. You do actually have to manage them quite closely, as is real life again. And there's just so many options that, you know, they've added. It's really customizable, this game. So they've I can't remember if it was in the last game or not, but you can now do a custom season. So you could do just Bahrain, China, and then Singapore, and that's it for a whole season if you wanted to. Of course, career mode separate from that. You can create your own season. And that's all that's on my list. But like I said, that's only a small part of what they've added. They really have added an awful lot to this game. I've just spotted in the top left there, you see I'm on soft tyres. So during the race, it shows what tyres the people around you are on. That sort of thing. You know, this game is just so much more finished and polished than last year's game was. It's just got so much more added to it. It's really a massive improvement. Like I said, it's really similar to what you see in real life, which is really good to see, with a lot of options that I think people have wanted. That being said, that there is some negative points. Unfortunately, Codemasters don't. I don't know how to put this, but basically, it's not as polished as you'd hope. So they've added all these features in, which is great, which is, you know, a really huge step in the right direction. But there's still, I wouldn't say bugs, because they're not game-breaking things. They're not things that are gonna make you stop playing the game. Again, I've got a little list of them here. So a big one, a huge one, which to my mind is surely simple to fix and something that should be fixed in this final build. By the way, I'm playing this literally the day before release, so I'm assuming that that this is the patch. There might be a day one patch, but I'd thought it'd be there by now. So the audio levels are completely wrong. So it's not too bad now in time trial, but when you see my AI race tomorrow, you'll see how bad it is. So the AI or the other cars engine volumes are way too high, and they're actually louder than your own engine volume. Things like the virtual safety car, the AI speed, they slow down way more than the Delta. I think that's because the Delta is actually set way too fast under virtual safety car. It's almost full speed, the Delta. And like I said, it is pretty CPU intensive, so I'm not sure it's optimized that well, but it is a next gen game, so that just might be my couple-year-old computer. But that's just things I got listed in front of me. But there is a few more, and it's almost like they've not polished the game. It's almost like they need to set a release date and then move it back by a month. You know, decide a release date that they're going to effectively try and have a finished version of the game for, then put it back by a month and use that month to just play the game, to get it tested, get your 300 beta testers on the full game, and really just get those bugs ironed out. I mean, like I said, they're not game. I haven't come across any game-ending bugs, and in fact, it's pretty stable. It's not crashed at all or anything like that. It's certainly better than last year for that, but it just doesn't feel as polished as you'd like it to be, which is a massive shame because, you know, like I said, it is a huge step in the right direction. I mean, I'm sure they'll fix them with patches, but this is release day. You know, they shouldn't need to fix things by patches. It should be, no game is perfect on release, granted, But you know, it should be better than it is. And I'll just show you my setup times there. Didn't comment on that run at all. We're now going to do some wet weather running, if I can say it, bit of a tongue twister. Now, this is another thing I haven't mentioned, but this is also massively improved. So in previous games, even on full wet tires, you'd only lose up to what, 5 seconds maybe on your dry times. Well, expect more like 5 seconds per sector in the wet this time. You see me struggling massively with the rear end, which again is correct. It was just way too quick for and very close to the pit wall there. And you see me there braking, go down to 6th, and still not enough. So you need to go down 2 gears to get through that first turn, which is amazing. So and it also looks great in the wet as well, I might add. So that's massively improved, certainly. And like I say, overall, I would say this game is a huge improvement. And like I said, I think direction is probably the best way I could put it. This game is absolutely, this game series is absolutely going in the right direction. Certainly, I felt before it was going in the wrong direction. Now it's definitely going in the right direction. Like I said, it's going in the direction of F1 realism, getting as close to what you see on TV as possible, which is great to see. But it's just the same old things that keep coming back to bite co-masters in the bum. You know, just effectively unfinished games. I mean, unfinished is a strong term, too strong. But you know, it's just that polishing. They just don't seem. I don't say they don't seem capable, because you know, I'm sure they are capable, but almost all of their games so far, all of them I can think of, have just not quite been as polished as you'd like them to be. You know, they're clearly good at making a good game, but just for some reason that final, it's almost like they're a bit disorganised and always forget things, or you know, it's hard to really put my finger on it, but it's a little bit. If I'm honest, for me, it does take a slight shine off this game, purely because it's just frustrating. That's the word. It's frustrating. I just know how close to excellent this game is, but it's just not quite able to get there because of the little, again, not quite bugs, but just the little lack of polishing is probably the best way I can put it. Like I said, I'm sure they will fix them with patches the best they can, and fingers crossed they do. So anyway then, so I think that's about all I'll really say on first impressions. I'll leave one lap at the end without commentary, just so you can get an idea of the sound. I realise that there's wet weather now. I've talked all over the dry. Yeah, I think I've said pretty much all I can in my first impressions video. As I said, next time I've got an AI video. Then I'm probably going to do some sort of 24th to question mark, which I did quite a few years ago, didn't I? I started that. Again, this will always be an ultimate AI. Everything I do will be on ultimate AI. Of course, all assists off. Yeah, just a couple notes as well while we're going around here on the PC stuff. So, as I said, I did struggle for FPS slightly. As I said, it does seem to be, for me at least, I bought a new graphics card and it didn't make any difference. So it's definitely CPU. But strangely, turning VSync off gave me, like, I think it was over 10 FPS for turning VSync off, which is very, very strange. And again, probably just another one of those things that they haven't quite polished up. A little bit strange, but yeah, that's just a little word of advice for PC players. Turn your VSync off and you get a lot better FPS. Maybe it's just my setup. I'm running AMD processor and AMD graphics card. Maybe it's just me. Perhaps it's better on NVIDIA and Intel, but that helped me at least. So coming to the final set now then, I have to go right down to 4th gear. And as I said, I mean, I can't remember. Oh, yeah, I can. My drive time was 1 minute 30. So my first lap was almost 20 seconds off the pace. So I was right with about 5 seconds per sector. It really is crazy. And I'm hoping they don't wipe the leaderboards, because I was the only one to set a time in the dry and wet at Silverstone. So obviously it is now release day. So I do welcome you to jump on and see what you can do with my times. I'm certainly not expecting to be the fastest. It's of course still release day, and I'm still getting used to this track, this game rather, and the track in fact. And one thing I will say as well is setups. One thing I haven't mentioned, left it way too late to mention setups. It's something I should have had on a bit of paper to mention earlier, but never mind. So setups are massively improved in that it's not just extreme, it's not just 11.1, 11.11, all that sort of stuff like you used to have. It's now they've basically, efficiency is the word they used. And which makes a lot of sense. So basically, let's take wings as a great example. So if you put wings up really high, yes, you get great downforce, but it'll increase the drag more than the gain you'll get from the downforce, if that makes sense. And vice versa. So if you decrease it, you just decrease the downforce too much for the drag gain. So basically, the middle of all the setups are pretty much the most efficient. So the default standard setup is actually probably one of the most competitive setups you can get. That being said, I'll be amazed if that is literally the fastest setup. I do think that'll do away with most of the extreme setups. I'm sure one or two things might be on extreme stuff, but I think it's now mainly a case of tweaking the setup rather than just being the same extreme setup for every race, which is great to see. That's quite a big improvement. Something they worked quite hard on this year, I think. But it's good for me because it does mean that I can just run default setup because, you know, I've been away from playing the F1 game seriously for a couple of years now, since F1 2013. Yeah, so it would be I'm a little bit out of touch in terms of setups, particularly as there's some more advanced things in there now that I'm just not in tune with. And 46.3 as my engineer just tells me, and decided to back out of it then. So that was my last lap. So I managed to find a little bit of time as I just floor it now, just to give that was in 5th gear, just to give an example, you know, an idea of how extreme the grip is. That was in 5th gear, and that would not happen in the dry. So there we are then, my usual rambling video, particularly for a first impressions video. I'll show you my set of times here. But hopefully that's been insightful for you guys. And like I said, I've got a couple of videos coming up, so do drop a like if you want to see me make some more videos, and I thank you for watching.